Safari here at Djuma Private Game Reserve. My name's Brent. I've got Andrew on camera with me today, and Nikki's in FC. For those of you who are new to us, believe it or not, we are literally live by a few seconds from wherever you are in the world to us here on Safari in South Africa. Hopefully everyone's in the mood to find some animals, and we will see what we can find, and I'll keep you updated as we go along about what we're doing. So welcome on Drive, and I'm really happy to have all of you guys with us. Just for those who are new, we are completely interactive and you can send questions to us. You can use the email address questions@WildEarthTV, or just use the hashtag SafariLive if you're on Twitter. So what we're going to do first this afternoon is we're heading towards the area where the guys lost or left that young male leopard this morning. So we're going to see if we can try find him. It is quite warm. He's probably going to be resting somewhere, so it hopefully gives us a much better chance of finding him. He hasn't moved too far during the day. But the one thing one must always not try to do is predict too much of animal movements, because if I said he hasn't moved too far, he could have walked 5 kilometers. Hopefully he will be in the same area though, and it shouldn't take us too long to find him. Warm at the moment, I guess probably around 30 degrees Celsius, almost, or not a breath of wind, not very clouds in the sky. Bush is drying out quite quickly at the moment. Probably most of our rain's is done for the rest of the year. My personally want to, as it starts getting dry and a bit cooler, and the bush starts to change colour. So there's been a lot of buffalo around, and with a lot of buffalo around equals a lot of flies, as you'll see. Might be swatting from time to time. So you'll notice that I might lean out of the vehicle quite often, and what I'm doing when I do that is I'm checking for tracks, so the footprints of different animals. Generally, when it comes to tracks, we'll be looking for your apex predators, your lion, leopard, and cheetah, wild dog. Hyena, we don't really track the tracks too often because they move such vast distances. Copy. So where the guys left that male leopard this morning was up in this direction. I'm just checking the road very carefully to make sure he hasn't moved down this way during the day. So for those of you who weren't watching this morning, I'll just give you a quick update. Stefan was out with Scott and they found the quarantine male leopard, who's a young male leopard who we do see quite frequently here at Djuma. And he very, very nearly caught a bushbuck right next to them. So they were very lucky and they were able to actually see him chase the bushbuck. And for those of you who are regulars and wondering a little bit about Steph, Steph is a new member to the team who will be with us from time to time. He is in no way replacing any of the other members, so everyone no one's going anywhere. Oops. So we have to keep our eyes peeled, because if he is sleeping, he could be a completely flat cat, and that's part of their defensive strategy. So they're not spotted by things like lions when they are resting. And there we go. He has moved by the looks of things. No, those are old tracks. Those are not from this morning. So what I'm doing is I'm looking into the deep shade, see if he's resting there, possibly looking for a little flick of the tail, white of his underbelly, or maybe just him raising his head as we go past. Also check around termite mounds, slightly elevated areas, and occasionally when it is very hot, leopards will choose to sleep in the tree where there's a little bit more air movement and it's a bit cooler for them. Wow, the flies are really out and about today. Yeah. Male Inyala. So a little bit forward. There we go. Nice. Big Inyala bull. So they are browsers rather than grazers, which means that they feed mostly off trees and small bushes. So even though it looks like he's eating grass there, as you can have a quick look in his mouth there, it wasn't. It was a small branch. Quite a funny story about how Inyala got their Latin name. There's a couple of different theories, but the first European person to discover them was a Scotsman by the name of Angus, and he set forth from a place which was called Port Natal, which is around where the current city of Durban in South Africa is today. And Inyala do not naturally occur that far down the coast. So he collected a group of porters and trackers and whatnot from that area, and he headed north up the east coast of Africa. And once he had crossed quite a large river, which is sort of the geographic boundary for Inyala in South Africa, called the Tugela River, he came across and he shot an Inyala, and he asked his Zulu tracker, well, what is this? And the tracker said, well, Angas, which means I don't know. So its Latin name became a Traphalagus, which is referring to its family with the spiral horns. Angazi, so it's a spiral horned I don't know. You can see how even that animal, when he crossed the road, he looked quite conspicuous. You can see there now that the camouflage does work, and there's the lines and that do break up the sort of the body shape, and then when he moves into the shade, that dark brown sort of blends very, very well. Well, we'll leave him to his afternoon snack. So I can't find any tracks of this young male leopard coming onto the road, which means if he has moved, he possibly has moved through one of these blocks of bush. So what I'm doing is I'm going to work my way around to the next road and then head down towards the nearest water point, see if we get any tracks coming through there. Sorry, I just got some other tracks here. Just checking quickly. lots of buffalo and lion tracks on the road here. This is where Scott yesterday evening was following that herd of buffalo with the lions before they crossed into off our eastern boundary. It's always just quite disconcerting. You're looking for leopard tracks. Oh no, it's a lion. Oh no, it's a lion. So what we're doing is we're checking around again, trying to make sure that this leopard hasn't maybe come through this direction. There is some water to the sort of northwest of us, a place called Buffalo's Hook Dam, so we're going to loop around towards the dam. If we don't get anything, we'll head back into that area when it's a bit cooler and he might be moving. Remember guys, if you want to ask me any questions, you can send them to questions@WildEarthTV or just use the hashtag SafariLive if you're on Twitter. Also, because we're heading towards the water, there's a very good chance of finding some elephants. Go ahead. Good afternoon, Roman, from the Netherlands. Welcome on Drive with us this afternoon. Roman is very lucky and he's on his way to Arethusa next month. And he'd like to know what his odds are of spotting the big five and his favorite animal, same favorite animal as me, the African wild dog. Well, Roman, in terms of the big five, you've got an incredibly good chance of seeing all of them during your stay there. The Northern Sabi Sands has some of the best game viewing in South Africa, if not Africa for that matter, especially when it comes to your predators. So I'm very, very confident you will probably see the big five. Unfortunately, wild dog, it's a bit of a gamble. Depending on where they den, so they should be denning from the end of this month going into next month. If they den close by, you've got an excellent chance of seeing them, and they will be in the area constantly. But if they den to the north or to the south, and it's a bit far from where they're denning, then obviously your chances go down. But I haven't personally seen any sort of sign of the dogs looking for den sites yet, or starting to dig around in all the aardvark burrows. But it is now. I hope that helps, Ron, for your safari. I'm sure there's a lot of people who are very jealous. The flies are so horrific today. I tried it once before and did have a little bit of success. So
Hello everyone. Being out in the bush and being out there live has its technical challenges. We're experiencing some of that now and are working on it as fast as possible to get it sorted and get you back on the vehicle with us. Hello everyone. Being out in the bush and being out there live has its technical challenges. We're experiencing some of that now and are working on it as fast as possible to get it sorted and get you back on the vehicle with us.
I think where I decided to go harvesting dwarf wild sage happened to be just a particularly bad spot for our signal, but we're back. So Andrew wants to try some as well. Let's pass it on.
Thank you.
So basically the last time what I did is I just rubbed it all over myself to try and get some of the smell on me. And it did work, but it seemed for a short while. So we'll see if it makes a bit of a difference, because they are incredibly active, the flies today. So hopefully it makes a difference. And if it didn't, I hope it was at least slightly amusing to see me rub a bush all over my face. No. And if that doesn't work, I'll just have to find another branch to act as a fly spotter. Another nice thing about this dwarf wild sage is you can eat it and use it for cooking. So traditionally it's been burnt as a mosquito repellent. I'm going to just bring out my good old Margaret Roberts. So traditionally used as a mosquito repellent, but as being burnt, dried and burnt on a sort of coal inside a room. And I have tried that before with different sage species, not with this one, but with the large sage. Wild. Here we go. That's the blue sage, that's the big one. Here we go.
It's not working.
Sorry?
It's not working as a fly repellent.
Is it not? Well, there don't seem to be as many on me. There's a lot on you. Here we go. What else? Some other traditional... A tea can be made from it. Ooh. It's a disinfective tea for fevers, flu, bronchitis, any sort of respiratory or throat infections. In the Sotho and Tswana, who are from further north from where we are, they burn it in their huts to drive out insects and bed bugs. And also used as a skin treatment for sort of lesions and sores, boiled in water, and added all the stems, the flowers, the leaves, all boiled in water, about a liter of water, and then strained, and then the leaves are used to wash over the lesions or sores. Oh. No, just also used as a taken orally as a a cure for flatulence. That's one I didn't know. So I think there's a few members of our camp who could use that. So we're getting quite close to where the water is. So hopefully we'll find something there. I seem to have a bit of success for flies. Definitely not as many. I might have to reapply later. Good afternoon, Angela in Boston. Welcome on Drive. Angela is wondering, she's been watching and she sees that we've got speed bumps like this coming up ahead of me here. Well, Angela, this is not actually a speed bump. It's called a mitre drain. And that's not a good one. I'll show you. I'll try to show you a better one now. And what it is, it's to stop erosion on the roads. So when we have heavy rains, roads tend to cause erosion and that. So you have these drains, so it stops all the soil disappearing and washing away, and it leads the water off the road. That's also not a good one. One where we can see it clearly. But as a nice byproduct, do you have speed bumps out? Oh, see if you can. A very pretty little bird. See if we can get them there. The light might be a bit harsh, but let's go to the one. Oh, I can't even see them properly. Just get my. Oh, one gone. Yes, they were. Unfortunately, with the light, it was a bit difficult to see them clearly. I'll just have to show you what they look like in the book. Put the shade over it, or
Which one is it?
4. So here we go. It was a bit difficult. The light was just in the wrong place for us to get a good view at them. But it's it used to be called a Melba finch, but now called a green-winged petilia. Very pretty little seed eater. Eats a lot of grass seeds and other seeds of smaller plants. Oh, it seems all is quiet at Buffalo's Hook Dam today. Maybe we might find. Whoa, bounce. The grey heron on the opposite bank. I know what we can go look at. If we sneak down there, I see some action. Go. Sneak quite slowly. Whole bunch of little seed eaters drinking. I think we might have to try from the other side. The lights not great again. Let me just try reposition quickly, everyone, so we can see them. It looks like, unfortunately, they've all flown off. It look like little canaries. I didn't get a good look at them though. Very, very little happening around here today. So, because it is quite warm, I think we should go find some shade. Because if I was an animal, I'd also want to be in the shade. So what we're going to do is move down towards one of the drainage systems, the larger drainage systems in the area, where we're able to actually drive in the riverbed. And we'll take a slow drive in the riverbed to see what we can see. Well, there's been moderate success with the insect repellent. I feel like there's definitely less flies on my face at the moment, but there are still some that seem to have been able to brave the sage. I think I'm going to have to try and find a different species of plant to attempt. We have to try and find either some wild basil or some wild aniseed. Are the only other two plants I can think of offhand right now that are used as insect repellents. We're just going through quite a low area in a drainage line. Is he forward a bit?
Yeah.
Okay. noisy birds. Here we go. So I'm actually going to ask you guys what these birds are. They live in flocks, and they are very, very noisy, and their name tends to indicate that they are a noisy bunch. And you can send your answers to questions at WildEarthTV or use the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. Let's see, what happens if I start the car, they might. Oh no, there we go. So they live in flocks and they forage together. So let's see who's going to be the first to figure out which bird that was. Here we go. Let's just have a, maybe see if we can get one last look at them, a slightly better one. Oh, I've seen one of my favorite little creatures in the bush. Get the birds, you can hear them making that noise now. It's a very distinct noise. And if we look carefully, if we come away from the birds and look at the termite mound right next to us, there are some very, very interested little creatures peering at us. Correct. So if you look carefully, there's actually a whole bunch of little dwarf mongoose. Oh, there we go, scatter. Here, next one, right next to us. With the head popping out the termite mound. So it's one of their defense mechanisms while they forage, because they're so small, they do get eaten by a lot of different things. Birds of prey. I've even seen leopard kill them before. So they have in their territory all these little bolt holes that they'll run to and hide in, and that they can come sort of peer out of to make sure everything's safe before bolting off to the next foraging site or area of safety. Well done to RC, Raisa and Joanne, who got that bird correct. They were arrow marked babblers. So if anyone hears a click, don't worry, nothing's breaking. It's just my camera that is just too cute a photograph not to take of the little one popping his head out there. So there's quite a few. I probably can see about 9 or 10 at the moment, all around us. On both sides of the road, actually, so a bit more than 9 or 10. It's quite ideal for a dwarf mongoose. There'll be quite a lot of food in terms of grubs and insects around. Just keeping an eye on us, making sure we're not up to any nonsense. So if you listen carefully, you can hear all that little scratching all around us, and that's the rest of the business of foraging. And sometimes you'll be amazed when you look at these holes how many come out of one. So here's quite nice because there's a sub-adult, or a youngster there. There's another youngster. You can see they're slightly smaller than the adults. Oh, there's a much smaller one, a very young one. Oh, sweetness.
You call them
pups? Yep, they would be pups. And they will travel from a very young age with the business. It's quite amazing if you sit for a little bit longer than what people normally do with dwarf mongoose. You suddenly start seeing that you always see one or two, the sort of sentries you're tasked with guarding and watching for potential threats. But if you sit long enough and they become a bit more comfortable with you, you start seeing a lot more other members of the group. Oh look, that little one. This one's now decided we're not that much of a threat that needs to just poke his head out. He's actually come out and sitting, watching us. So very alert. And when you're that size in the bush, you have to be, because you are definitely not at the top of the food chain. So in Africa, this is the smallest member of the sort of mammalian order of carnivores, Carnivora. So it's the smallest member of the Carnivora family in Africa. And the Shangaan name is one of my favorites for an animal. It's Matsikitsok. And we even there was another guide, a Shangaan guide I worked with a few years ago. Alfie, who was really, really short. So obviously, immediately, his nickname became Matsikitsoch, the dwarf mongoose. The rest of the group slowly moving away. Chop, chop, chop. There we go. See how the younger one, as soon as there's an adult present, feels even more comfortable to come out. We'll probably follow off. There we go. Oh, isn't that wonderful? Alright, little mongoose. One of my favorite roads on Djuma. Go ahead. Good afternoon, Jacqueline from Savannah. Welcome on Drive with us this afternoon. Jacqueline would like to know what mongoose eats. I'm presuming you're talking about the dwarf mongoose we just saw. Well, Jacqueline, there are majority of their food would be insects and arachnids, so they will eat lots of bugs, especially the larvae of the bugs, so the grubs, and of beetles, and they'll eat scorpions. There have been small snakes, field mice, baby rats, whatever they can find, but generally on the smaller scale. Different species of mongoose will eat different things, but that's specifically with the dwarfs. The majority of their prey will be sort of beetle larvae, termites, termite alates, flying ants, scorpions. So there's quite a few reasons this is one of my favorite roads on Djuma. It's along the edge of a little drainage line that are very, very productive for me personally with leopards. I've had some fantastic sightings in this area, and also I just really like walking this drainage line. It's a fantastic area to walk in when you're tracking. Beautiful. You got big jackalberry trees and big scotias, weeping boer beans, and big knob thorns. And I suppose possibly because I had one of my best sightings of a leopard was just inside this drainage line over here, and that was when we found also the first leopard I found and tracked on foot at Djuma, which was Djuma. It's a young male leopard. He was a bit mad in the head, and I think that's why he's my favorite leopard. And I just had such a fantastic time viewing him in that drainage line. It's sort of what made this area one of my favorites. Good afternoon, Donna. Welcome on Drive. Donna would like to know the name of this road we've just gone down, and it's called Inyala Road South. In the road just off to the right hand of the track. Oh, that was perfect timing there. As it sort of turned, the sun glinted off those emerald spots that give that bird its name. And the emerald spotted wood dove. Good afternoon, Orbs. No updates. Copy, Orbs. I've been past Buffalo's Hook. There was nothing there earlier. Have a look at the base of that fallen down buffalo thorn. There's a little bird hopping around. Oh, there's a little pushback by the looks of things in the road. Just to the right. And it disappeared. Let's have a bit closer. He's got a nice little bird party going on around here and around this buffalo thorn. Let's see. So they took off. I can hear some more babblers. That's not bad. Just looking for hoping there was an orange-breasted bushshrike that I saw fly in there that I was hoping was going to stay for a bit longer. Where's that little bushbuck gone? Popped into this thicket here on the left. I think she's hiding in there. Shame, we don't want to stress her too much. We'll move on. But I think she's hiding right in this thicket that the camera's on at the moment. Move. Oh, I don't know if we got a quick glimpse. We might. Get more. No, not yet. I'm not flashing out at the moment. Oops. Too quick for us. There we go. Oh, nearly. He might pop up again. Good. Andrew, nice camera work. Was that slender mongoose? Okay, he's moving. There we go. Maybe he'll come. No, he's going to go up to the left. Let's see if we can get a better view. In the riverbed here, I'm just going to position the car differently so Andrew can show you on camera. I'm just going to get out to explain it a bit. So, have a look at that nice clear one. Focus on. Yeah. So have a look there. Almost in the soft sand looks a bit like a similar shape to a human foot, except a bit wider. And then you can see this very distinct trail, almost like something doing this through the sand. And then if you have a look at this one, I don't know what it's looking like. It's a bit difficult. Very big print in the sand here. It's quite a difficult one if you're not used to it. But quite a nice track to look at. It's a crocodile. I decided to walk through here. Probably as it gets drier, the crocodile is going to be forced to move between the water points to the more permanent water points. So who knows, maybe one day we'll be driving down the road and looking for leopards and we'll find a crocodile walking down the road. Wouldn't that be exciting? Aha! I've spotted another possum fly. So a lot of you might recognize this plant. I'm not going to tell you what it is just yet. I'm going to see if anyone can tell me what it is. You might recognize the shape of the plant. Here are the seeds up above, and here are the leaves. Very, very distinct smell. Unfortunately, you guys can't smell it, but really, really great smell. Let's see if anyone can recognize the shape of the family before I completely abuse it and try use it as a fly repellent. Okay, well, I'll give you guys a while. See the crocodile tracks are still in front of us. Signal something. That's correct. Get back. I'll have spotted the cat. Okay. There's more alarm calls out further forward. I'm going to try to shoot around quickly. So bear with me a little faster for a second. Are very close to our boundary, that's why I don't want to make a mistake. I did find what the Franklin were alarm calling it, and it was a slender mongoose. Not a leopard, unfortunately, but you need to check because one in about 20 times it is a leopard. Station, I'm copying you. That was a Natal Franklin. Suddenly popped out of the grass, and as we were going past, had a slight panic. It's calm again now. So it's quite interesting that they have quite different alarm calls for different. Like we heard that one there. It was, whoa, I got a fright. Oh, but it's not going to eat me. It's okay. It's okay. I'm calm now. But there's where it's a predator that they're actually worried about, like a leopard or a slender mongoose or even a bird of prey. It's a much sort of more high pitched sort of, and it's very distinct. That it's as soon as you hear it, you know it's always worth taking a few minutes just to have a double check in that area to make sure that there isn't a predator there. I was off my vehicle for a short time, maybe the last 5 to 10.
Hello everyone. Being out in the bush and being out there live has its technical challenges. We're experiencing some of that now and are working on it as fast as possible to get it sorted and get you back on the vehicle with us. Hello everyone. Being out in the bush and being out there live has its technical challenges. We're experiencing some of that now and are working on it as fast as possible to get it sorted and get you back on the vehicle with us. Hello everyone. Being out in the bush and being out there live has its technical challenges. We're experiencing some of that now and are working on it as fast as possible to get it sorted and get you back on the vehicle with us. Hello everyone. Being out in the bush and being out there live has its technical challenges. We're experiencing some of that now and are working on it as fast as possible to get it sorted and get you back on the vehicle with us.
Everyone, we just spotted a nice big male waterbuck. I'm just trying to get into a position where we see him nicely. He's just in the thick bush, but he should. Oh, he's moving through now. Let me go forward again. One of the easier animals in the bush to identify from his behind. A very distinct large white circle on the behind of a waterbuck. And that is a following mechanism. So youngsters are able to follow their mothers through the bush. Waterbuck have some quite interesting adaptations that are not as common in other antelope. Their fur is not the same as all the other antelope's fur that we see here at Djuma. They're more like quills, so they're actually hollow, and they have a very unique gland near their shoulder on the top of their back that they'll actually use with their nose to spread the secretion from that gland over their skin, giving them a sort of waterproofing when it rains. So that it's a very oily and smelly substance. You can actually quite often smell waterbuck before you see them. As we are now, we're downwind of them. We can actually smell that. It's sort of a musty odor. I haven't seen any females around yet, just him. Let me see. He is moving into some thicker bush. Let me just try to roll forward a bit, see if we get a bit of view. Just slowly grazing. A nice set of horns on this guy. Very good hearing. There's a car on the road, probably over a kilometre away from us, heading towards us, and as soon as it sort of came over the ridge, lifted his head and sort of listened in that direction. Just to give you an idea how aware the animals are of their surroundings. Oh, listen. Ah, no, that's not a threat. Back to eating. We'll let meander on, see what else we can find. Just use my camera as a pair of binoculars quickly. Nah, false alarm. Well done to Angela, Jennifer, Robin and Susan. Got this correct. This is wild basil. Welcome. So now that everyone's got it correct, I'm going to have a new test. Maybe I'll have to sort of start brewing a concoction between basil and sage and aniseed to see which is the most effective at keeping the bugs off. It smells incredible. And I actually do cook with this. Goes very well with the wild version. Let's see. Maybe this will be a bit more effective than the sage. Yummy. Checked the last position of quarantine, was unable to locate. Then checked Puffles Hook, down Nyala Road, north south to Moati to Twin Dams, now on Weaver's Nest heading towards Treehouse.